Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Christina, and in today's video, I'm sharing with you a very late October recap and November plans and goals video. Now, my last few have been fairly late, like a 1 day, 2 days, maybe 3 days. By the time this goes up, it will be about a week late. And also, as you can probably hear, my kids are playing right outside this window. It is a Tuesday morning. I'm in my sweats. Just getting to my coffee. We had breakfast. I did make a delicious breakfast. It was French toast with a blueberry mango compote that I made. So good. Having a cup of coffee. My husband just brought back one of my sons who went to work with him a little bit this morning, and then just picked up my oldest who's going to be going to work with him a little bit for I don't know how long, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, who knows? I guess I'll find out. Today is the day where I made lists for everyone for things that they need to do throughout the day. I've been trying to be better about giving them lists. And then my husband came and wanted to take kids out, and I'm not going to say no to that. One of the reasons we homeschool is flexibility. So I say all that just to share with you that this is a totally impromptu video, because I'm realizing as it is November 5th that if I do not get this video filmed today, it's just not going to happen. It's going to be too late. It's not going to make sense. Things have been so busy. I have not had the opportunity to be home in a quiet house with also the time to film this video. And so I'm realizing as I'm looking at the week ahead that I'm not going to have that time. So I'm either going to try doing it just like this on a Tuesday morning while everyone is around, possibly coming in and out, possibly having meltdowns. We'll see how this goes, but we're going to go for it. So recapping October. October was a crazy busy month, but also a lot of really good stuff. So I'm going to try to remember everything. I actually did take some notes in my little conference notes book. I went to a homeschool conference on the 2nd, so technically that's not October, but since I'm filming this on the 5th, we'll just go with it, and I'll share that. One of the things that I did was I went to the Little by Little Homeschool Conference in Syracuse, New York. And it was really cool because it is the first homeschool conference that I know of in New York. Lots of squeaky doors opening and closing too, so it was so good. And some of the speakers were September McCarthy, Lee, I don't know if I'm going to butcher her last name, Nguyen. She's Little by Little Homeschool on Instagram, and she has a podcast. She's the one who hosted the conference. And then September McCarthy from September & Co. and then Abby Halberstadt from M is for Mama. They were incredible. The conference was amazing. I got to go with one of my good friends, and we were able to hang out in the car and talk and just have a great day. So I took lots of notes on the conference, but I also at one point started thinking about this video and actually took notes in here. So I don't have my planner with me today that I usually have, but I did take some notes in here, and I did not prepare for this video because I figured, like I said, we would just go for it. So we'll talk really quick about what we did in October, and then I'll tell you our plans for November and just some thoughts that I've been having as I've been thinking through and praying through what November should look like. So in October, we had 2 trips, and we went to the Poconos both of those times. So we stayed at 2 different places. They were both beautiful. One was the Sojourn Chalet, and we had a wonderful time there. We saw so many deer. We had so much fun. And then 2 weeks later, we went back to the Poconos and stayed at Red Fox Den. And this place was so cozy and so comfortable and relaxing. There was a sweet little creek on the property that the kids were able to explore, and it was beautiful. We took a walk down there at sunrise, and it was just so peaceful and so nice. There was a hot tub, a fireplace inside. We had just nice big brunches and did a lot of reading and playing games. My kids brought remote control cars, and they were doing that like out on the back deck because the weather was beautiful. So if you're looking for a nice place to stay in the Poconos, I would definitely recommend Red Fox Den. It was such a nice stay. There's like a big bunk room and then 2, I think, queen rooms. And there's 2 bathrooms and a really big open like floor plan for kitchen, living room, and dining room. So we really enjoyed that. We were also vendors at another short-term rental conference. So Airbnb, short-term rental, the terms are kind of interchangeable, but a lot of properties are trying to get away from Airbnb or like calling it an Airbnb so that they can do their own direct booking and not have all the fees for themselves and for the guests who are going to be staying. So that's where the short-term rental term comes in if you're not familiar with it. So we were exhibitors or vendors and sponsors at the Vermont Short-Term Rental Conference, and that was really cool. Myself and my oldest son went as company representatives, and it was also really cool because we were able to sit in on the educational sessions. So we actually learned a lot more about the industry. We had an opportunity to network and meet people in the industry, and we're hoping to get to Vermont more because it is so close to us being in upstate New York. Another thing we did is we went on a field trip with our Wild and Free group to Hildene, which is also in Vermont, in Manchester. Hildene is the Lincoln family home, so it's a beautiful property. We also had an educational class there with our Wild and Free group, all about the pond ecosystem this time of year, and then they did like a pond exploration. They had a ton of fun. And it was just beautiful there. It was like peak foliage in Vermont, which is amazing. I don't know what they're playing out there, but it looks like at least everybody's happy. So we also did another field trip with another one of our homeschool groups, and we went to like a pumpkin patch and farm, and they had a blast doing that too. One of my sons turned 6, so we celebrated his birthday. My husband also had a birthday in October, and then my oldest son has a birthday coming up really soon in November. He's going to be 17, which is so crazy to me. So that's pretty much everything that we did in general, not talking about curriculum, but things that we started and did in terms of curriculum. We've been pulling loosely from the Peaceful Press Nature Book Flood, which has a weekly book and activities to go along with it. We just started yesterday, the Playful Pioneers Volume 2. I did a video on this and the election unit last week at some point. And so this is a 1-month unit focusing on New England and its connections to Thanksgiving. And so I thought this would be a great unit to do in November. So we'll be pulling loosely from this. We won't be doing everything in here, but we will be using it as a guide, reading the books, looking at some of the art, maybe making some of the recipes, that kind of stuff. So we've been liking that so far, even though it's only been 1 day. And the other thing that we've done only 1 day. So these are things that we'll be doing in November, but we've also started. So they're also sort of part of this recap. We did the election unit from Gather Round Homeschool, which I already shared last week. It's a 2-day unit meant to be done Monday the 4th and November the 5th. Just a 2-day unit that is specific to this actual election. So not just like a general government and election unit, but specific to this election. So I don't know if it would make sense to do this when you're to like get it, or if it'll even be available by the time you see this video, but it is something that we are doing. So I wanted to share it. We also started Health and the Human Mind by The Good and the Beautiful in the month of October. We did Health from the Physical Body last year, and I've been wanting to do something about, like I've wanted to do Intro to Psychology from Gather Round Homeschool, and we still might do that in the future, but The Good and the Beautiful last year sent me Health and the Human Mind, so I figured we would try it out, and we're liking that so far. We also started Little Women. We actually started it like with the physical book, and then we've been listening to it as an audio book in the car when we were traveling to the Poconos, and we had like hours in the car. We did it on the audiobook. We also started Little Town on the Prairie. We had taken like a short break from the Little House books because the long winter took us like forever, like 6 months or something maybe, I don't know. So we started Little Town on the Prairie. We're liking that so far. We've been doing Seasons of Field, which is a nature science curriculum for primary grades from Beautiful Feet Books. We've really been enjoying that a lot. Let me know if you guys want me to do a YouTube video on that. I could do that because I feel like not a lot of people know about it, and it is a really cool curriculum. We've really been enjoying it. We've almost finished Ancient Civilizations. I don't know how we're still doing Ancient Civilizations. It's been like 6 months, and it's like a 20 lesson unit, so I don't know what's going on. But we have a few lessons left, and then we are going to move on to Middle Ages and Vikings for this year. And then possibly it'll go into next year because we finish it when we finish it. And we are going to also hopefully start Italian this month. I've been meaning to do that for a couple months as well, and we have just not done it. So those are basically the things we have going on, other than I signed up for the beta tester program for the new math from Gather Round Homeschool. They previously have not had math, and they've been talking about it for a while, and they finally released it in the beta tester phase. So I believe it will be available in general in January, but for right now we signed up. I did it for my 4, 6, and 9-year-olds. And so they look like these little booklets and they're really pretty. I wanted to just try them out. We're using the Good and the Beautiful math and I'm happy with it. I don't have any complaints about it, but I just really wanted to check this out. So I figured I would, and either we would, I don't plan on, let me just say this. I don't plan on not doing the Good and the Beautiful, but if you've been around, you can probably tell that I'm like not opposed to using more than one thing as long as it doesn't complicate things too much. So we're gonna try this and maybe I'll kind of like alternate, or if they tend to like one more than the other, then maybe we'll just decide to stick with that one. But I'm open to trying it and I'm excited. I think I am going to start these today or tomorrow with my 4, 6, and 9-year-olds. So I will let you guys know what I think of them, hopefully in next month's video. Something else, so I got this at the conference, at the homeschool conference I went to the other day. Hard is not the same thing as bad. This is by Albie Halberstadt, or better known for a lot of people as M is for Mama over on Instagram. She also wrote the book M is for Mama. This book is so good. I'm only a couple chapters in, but I'm loving it so much. I'm so glad that I got it. So I wanted to share that. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, okay, this I will say. Something that's been on my heart the last week or so is that I think I really need to prioritize rest and slowing down in November and really making this sort of like, in some ways, a Sabbath month. If you caught my podcast maybe about a month or so ago when I sat down with Carrie DeFrancisco from Coffee with Carrie, she shared about simplifying your homeschool, and one of the things that she talked about that was foundational to simplifying your homeschool is the idea of Sabbath rest in a variety of different ways. So if you did not listen to that podcast, I would strongly recommend going back and listening to it. You can either watch it here on YouTube or you can listen to it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. It's just the Rooted Home Life podcast, Cultivating Home, Chasing Adventure. And she shared so much in there that really spoke to me because I already felt like the Lord was speaking to me about prioritizing rest, prioritizing Sabbath. And then it just continues to come up. And then I don't have a ton of things on the schedule for November, like not a lot of travel, not a lot of business related things with Rooted Home Life Media, which is kind of like the media portion of my business that I started really in August. So it was already happening, but I made it like officially its own thing or its own separate branch with its own Instagram page and all of that in August. And so this is the first month I don't have any trips booked. And I could, I'm sure, if I like followed up with properties that had reached out to me and things like that, but I kind of feel like I'm supposed to leave it alone for right now and prioritize rest. So for right now, until I really feel like I get a clear direction from the Lord, if he wants me to pursue anything, I am going to leave November as is. We have sort of a big trip coming up. I've got to move because the sun is like really in my eyes. We've got sort of a big trip coming up in December. And like I said, we've been busy. And I really feel like maybe what the Lord is saying right now is to prioritize rest in November. So I am going to lean into that and try to really focus on that. I was sharing over on Instagram yesterday that I created a couple of things for my kids and for myself to help us reset for the upcoming month. And one of those things was I created a list, put it on the fridge, our family goals for the day, and then another one, our family goals for the week. And I went over those with my kids. And then I also gave each of them a to-do list for the day. And then I also gave my older kids a sheet that said needs and wants for the week. And then I put a line down the middle so that they could write down their needs and their wants that come up in their minds, because oftentimes they tell me things that they want or ask me questions, and I'm either cooking or I'm helping a younger sibling with, one of their lessons or a whole variety of things that us moms do. And so either like it doesn't register or I forget or whatever it may be. And then it comes up again and they're like, well, I've told you, or I've asked you for weeks. And so I figured it would be a great way for them to write it down, for me to be able to check it when I do have like the mental focus to do it. and for them to feel heard, and also for them to not feel an urgency to like get me to pay attention to the thing at the moment because they're afraid that they're gonna forget it. So I started that with them yesterday. I plan to continue that with them for as long as we find it helpful. And yeah, it was like all of those things yesterday were my way of trying to organize my own thoughts and get us all on the same page to kind of reset and regroup for the month after lots of travel, lots of busyness. So yeah, in case that's helpful for anyone, I wanted to share that over here as well, even though I did share it in stories on Instagram. I know some of you watch both and some don't, so I wanted to share that over here in case that's helpful. Other than that, as far as like independent work for the kids, they've just been plugging away at their math, language arts, their independent workbook pages for ancient civilizations with Gather Round, and their independent reading and stuff like that. So I don't really have a ton to share in that regard. My 17-year-old does have a lot of new stuff that he's going to be doing, and I keep saying I'm going to get that video up. I did actually film it, at least. The plans for his senior year homeschooling. I like even said in one video, like, it will be the next video because I know I had it filmed, but other things keep happening, and so I will try to get it up next week if you're interested in that. He has not started the new things yet. He's still working on the things I already had him doing and things that we've started new like as a family, but as far as his independent things that he's going to be starting new for his senior year, he hasn't started. So it actually isn't behind when you guys get the information. It's just behind in the terms of like when most people are sharing what their homeschool plans are. But I think that's everything. If you have any questions or you feel like I forgot to say something, just ask me down in the comments and I will try to get to those. Everything that I shared, I will also try to remember to link in the description box below. And let me know. I want to hear from you guys how your October was, what your plans are for November, and all of that good stuff. I hope to see you soon in one of my next videos. And until next time, stay rooted.